Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is your girl Chrissy, and today we're going to attempt making a bucket hat. I had to change the scenery of my video. I just needed something different. I'm still in my room. My bed's on this side. You know, I'm over here. But yeah, I have new hair, new scenery. Let's get right into this video. Alright, so what I just did was I figured out exactly the measurements I needed to make my hat. And this should be one size fits all kind of thing. If you need to make adjustments, go ahead and make them for yourself. But I have 3 sticky notes worth of the measurements that I need to make my pattern, and I'm gonna go ahead and share it with you guys. So in total, there are 3 patterns that you'll need. You'll need the top circle, you'll need the brim right here, you'll need the brim right here, and you'll also need like the head part right here. So I have my fabric. So what you'll need is a straight ruler and also a hip ruler. And this is for the curve in the hat. But now that I have my fabric in front of me, I'm gonna go ahead and measure 17 by 17 centimeters, and I'm going to finish that square off, draw the circle in the middle, hitting the 4 borders, and that is going to be your top portion of your hat. So what I did here is I made my rectangle. I measured this 10.7 centimeters and I measured this 15.4 centimeters. I made sure I put a dot at 9.3 centimeters. I put a dot at 2.2 centimeters and I put a dot at 1.7 centimeters. So now that we have that measured out, we're going to use our hip curve. So ignore this line, I just did that incorrectly. Go ahead and put your ruler at this top point here and smooth it into the bottom of this rectangle here, and you're going to draw that line. And now that that line is drawn in, I'm using more of the straighter side of my hip curve, and I'm connecting this point to this point here. Now that I have that drawn out, I'm going to connect this point to this point here. So here I'm going to use the straighter side of my ruler, and I'm going to attach this point to this bottom point here. So now that this piece is done, you're going to go ahead and cut on these lines that you just redrew, and make sure that you cut 2. So an easier way to do it would be cut this pattern out, duplicate it, and cut another pattern out, just so you don't have to do the measurements all over again. And now I'll go ahead and show you guys how to do the brim pattern. So what I did to measure out my brim pattern was I put it on fold. I measured 13.5 centimeters by 20.8 centimeters for the shape of the rectangle. And what I did was I put a dot in at 7.6 centimeters and I put a dot down at 7.5 centimeters. I measured along here at 9.5 centimeters. I placed that dot and I used my hip curve to go ahead and make the necessary lines. For this pattern, we're going to cut 4. So cut this, then cut it 3 more times, and you'll be done. This is a cut 4, this pattern's a cut 2, and this pattern is a cut 1. Make sure that you fold it over to finish out your circle. So to go over the pieces that I just cut out, I have one of the top hat part, and you guys, it's been so long since I've made something that I forgot to draw my pattern on the wrong side of the fabric. So sadly, I'm gonna have this on the right side of the fabric, but just for the sake of this video, I'm gonna keep going. So I have 2 patterns of the smaller one, then I have 4 of this larger one. Boom, 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 and boom. Sadly, the sun is going down and I don't have my ring light. So sorry for the video quality of this video that's going to be, but I'm going to keep moving. So next you're going to grab the headband pieces. So this is the shorter side, it's not the brims, just to make sure we're on the same page here. So you're going to grab the shorter end, which when I lay it down, or I guess when I hold it up, you'll see that this side is going to be angled shorter than the top end here. So I'm going to take this shorter end here, and that's what I'm going to be attaching on the hat. Make sure that you put right sides of the fabric together. You're going to sew as close as you can to this line. So let's just say 1/8 of an inch right here, just to keep the fit. You want to make sure that it's big enough for your head. And the same thing, just sew 1/8 of an inch on both sides, and I'll come back after I'm done with that. Okay, so I just got done sewing them together. I'm going to flip them right side out. Take note as to which one is the shorter end. There's going to be a wider angle and a shorter angle. We want the shorter end attached to the top piece of the hat. So again, short side to top side of the hat. I'm going to start pinning the edge, right sides together, and I'll come back when they're all pinned. Yay! So I have the top of my hat pinned. I just want to show you guys exactly how it's supposed to look right now. If you followed along with the measurements that I gave in the beginning of this video, it should literally be perfect. So go ahead, don't make any adjustments unless you need to. So this is where I'm at. I'm going to sew along the top of the hat at 1/8 of an inch, and I will be right back. So I have the top portion of the hat completed. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to put that part to the side. I'm going to take the long pieces that we cut out earlier. So go ahead and place 2 right side components together. And sew 1/8 of an inch around the outer edge. I am going to cut that because I don't want it to look really bulky at the edges of my brim. So I'm going to cut that to make more of a smoother transition right here. Go ahead and make the necessary changes you need to make on your patterns. Okay, so now that I have sewn the outer edge together, I'm going to go ahead and lay them flat, so right sides out. And of course it's curved, so it's not going to lie exactly flat, but make sure that your right sides, this is what it will look like once you open it, right sides together. And now what we're going to do is we are going to sew the outer edge again at 1/8 of an inch on both sides. And this is just so we'll have clean edges and it'll give you more of that professional bucket hat look. Now I'm going to cut the excess off just so when I flip it inside out, it'll be less bulky and lesser of a hard edge. Make sure you clip the insides just to get that finished curve. So I have the brim of my hat. What I'm going to do now is use my iron to press on the seams, just so it'll make it easier for me for the next step. So the next step would be to go in 1 centimeter until you reach the end of the hat here. And this is just so it could give it the stiffness and it won't be so floppy. So I'm gonna do that off camera and I'll be back. So I just finished the brim of my hat. Now all I have to do is attach this to the top of the hat. So make sure you put this down and go ahead and flip this. Pick whichever side that you prefer, whichever side is cleaner to you. It really doesn't matter because both of these sides should be the right side out. So I am going to pick this side to be the inside. And what I'm doing now is I'm matching one of the seams to this inside seam right here. And now once your hat looks like this, we're gonna go ahead and pin the outer edge right here together. And once you do this, you're going to sew around the same as we've been sewing, 1/8 ease, and then you'll be done with your hat. So I'm going to sew this together and then I'm going to run to the bathroom with the better lighting and show you guys how the final look looks. So this is the finished product of my bucket hat. The only critique I have for myself would be to make these lines, you know, more straight around the edges that I was making. You can't really tell, but you can see some parts I wasn't the straightest with, but you can't tell. And I didn't go over with this material mainly because I forgot I threw it away in my last video, but I just wanted to show you guys exactly where I'm at now. Finished product. Honestly, I have no complaints. I really do like it. I think it turned out pretty cute. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and make sure you give me some comments, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.